flow, you know? Okay, so what is opportunity cost in that example that we gave about going to Fort Lauderdale for spring break? Now, if you missed that last class, a couple of you missed that last class, a couple of you, you know who you are. It's your responsibility to catch up. Well, actually, hopefully, ideally over the weekend, so you know what we're talking about here. How many of you have read the chapter?
Which one?
Chapter 1. You did read the chapter. Very good. Okay. I might quiz you every now and then. And sometimes I throw out something which I'm not going to say anything yet. Okay. So the key to using the concept of opportunity cost correctly lies in recognizing precisely what taking a given action prevents us from doing. Remember what happened. What happened? You ended up going to Fort Lauderdale. That was your decision you made instead of be the best man in your cousin's wedding in Boston. That was the example. So because that was the opportunity cost. You can only do one, but not the other. So the third pitfall we want to move into very quickly is about sunk cost. What does it mean by sunk?
It's the cost that you can't get back.
Oh, very good. I like that. Who said that? Petrius. I got you right this time. Very good. I like that. That's a wonderful definition. You cannot get it back. It's not recoverable. Sunken ship, you heard about it. That's it, gone. So the only cause that should influence a decision about whether to take an action are those that we can avoid by not taking the action. And that usually is a marginal cost. We're going to look at example. On the other hand, sunk cost is a cost that's beyond recovery at the moment that you're making that decision. Now remember, bring your textbook. How many of you have your textbook today? Yeah, wave it. Say, I have it, right? Very good. All right, because I'm gonna ask you to be active and turn to the pages every now and then to get your class participation as much as possible. So let's look at this example. Now, in this example, we want to look at, let me turn to my pages here. How many of you like to go to all-you-can-eat buffet? Why is that?
It's all you can eat.
All you can eat, just pay one amount, right? Even though it's lousy food, cheap food, it doesn't matter because, it's cheap, so. Do we have a new person here today, by any chance? You have never seen me before? This is the first time? Nobody, very good. I thought the class was closed. We're missing somebody, yes. He's not here. Mr. Gerson. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna give that as an example, all you can eat restaurant, and the price is $5. Okay, and that's not too bad, plus tax, all that stuff. And let's just say that you walk in today, and then the owner of the house, the restaurant greets you at the door and say, "Hello, JB, right? Not BJ, right? JB, got it. JB, today's your lucky day." You say, "What? How? Why?" Some people are very inquisitive. They start throwing out all the how, why, what. It's on the house because you're the lucky person. So that means they paid for you. So nobody wants to do the walk? Thank you. I gave you a chance to walk. Okay, so 20 randomly selected guests will get lunch on the house, free. Very good. So now we ask this question. If all the diners are rational, how many of you remember what's the definition for rational? Go back and look at it. You could explain it in your own words if you want. What's rational? Yes, Hunter, yes.
A person that takes an action that leads to an economic surplus.
Oh, very good. If it is P, positive, not negative, right? Okay, very good. If all the diners are rational, will there be any difference in the average quantity of food consumed by these two groups? What two groups are we talking about? Number one, the one who to get to be picked for one of the 20, okay? And then number 2 is a group that you just have to pay as per normal. Okay, so how many of you say yes, there is a difference? Raise your hand. Try and get you to exercise.
Yeah.
Just, like some blood pumping into your body, like raise your hand. One person okay about, some of you are you raising your hand or you just scratching your chin or what? Come on, you see a show of hand. How many of you say the first one, yes, there should be a difference? Okay, we got about 3 people. How many of you say B, there should not be any different? I'm gonna raise your hand. Very good, confidence, I like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, before I give the answer, you will know the answer very quickly. The correct answer is B, okay? After the first helping, and this is explaining why, because there is such a thing called sunk cost. Hint, for your homework problem, hint. Okay, that's it, gone. After the first helping, all diners are faced with, should I go back for another helping, right? Everybody asks that question. And the first plate to power up, like a big ice cream cone, and then pretty soon, it's all gone. So I'm sure you asked that question, should I go back for the second? Right, everybody face it. Regardless of what status you are, whether you came in for free or whether you're one of the paid customer, yes, if the marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost. Remember we talked about that the other day? We have a name for it. What is it? Look back to your notes. Tell me if you know it. What do we call it? We have a name for it. That we see.
Cost benefit.
Very good. Cost benefit principle or criterion. And let's make it a little bit more precise. Your marginal benefit should be at least greater than marginal cost. Okay, so when making a decision on the second helping, $5 is considered a sunk cost. And this is a back door you can slip out. But we're not assuming that, okay? Once you get in, you either have to pay upfront or they lock the back door so no one can slip out, So when you finish eating, you have to pay that $5. So what we're saying here is because of that, $5 is the sunk cost for those people who are paid. The paying customer. Like for the other party, it's the same, it's on the house anyway, it's already been paid for. So for both groups, actually, the extra cost and another helping is 0. Then the next thing to consider is the marginal benefit. So, and then we're assuming that, the marginal benefit or another helping for on average for any given person should be more or less the same. So for both groups, so no difference in consumption in this case. If you need more explanation, it's in the book. So basically what this is saying is we are using this concept of sunk cost to try to explain how people make decisions. In this case, we say that there's no difference because, of the sunk cost. It doesn't matter whether the $5 come from your pocket or $5 come from the owner's pocket. Basically, the marginal cost of second helping is the same because $5 is the sunk cost. However, the marginal benefit, we also say, on average, is the same for anybody. We're not, I think we're assuming everybody's sort of like same size, same gender, things like that. I know in reality there is a difference, but we're assuming that marginal benefit, because there's a capacity to how much you could eat, right? You can only go back for maybe about, 3 helping. How many of you go for 4th and 5th? Some of you do, but that's okay because the first one is like tiny, right? You're experimenting. The sushi, wait, I don't think so. Don't go back for a second. Yes, question? Yes.
What about is there a factor that messes with, I don't know how to say it. Is there a factor that deals with the fact that one side has to pay while the other people do not? I think
Oh,
like
you
the
could do
people
all
who
kinds
have
of,
to,
yeah, you could do all kinds of control experiments. In fact, if you read the book, the psychology people, behavioral economics people would love to do the experiment on something like that. You turn on one control variable, turn off the other one. So now we are making all sorts of assumptions, all things being equal on the average. So now if you throw in some of these control variables like, what if everybody is of different sizes, different genders, and what if they just come out from a football game, all football players? Then yeah, there might be a difference. So you have to take assumptions very carefully.
well, not exactly changes in sizes or age or
Okay.
whatever.
What did you
But,
have in mind?
When I say the fact that one
Yep.
side has to pay and the other doesn't, let's say someone who has to pay $5 or even more than that for the buffet, they eat and they're feeling kind of full, but no one wants to spend some kind of money and only have one plate and an all-you-can-eat buffet. They would say, I want to get my money's worth, so they might go back up for more. Versus someone.
Well, that's it,
who got
we're
three,
assuming that everybody
say-
wants to go back for a second, right? And so the assumption has to be clear. So the main thing that we're focusing on here is the sunk cost. That, everybody pay $5. And if it is on the house, it's also 5. So we're not going beyond it, like if it is more than 5, then you want to have it worth it. I think even if it is 10, it will be the same. Unless you want to do a little bit of psychological experiment, which you could read, the textbook gives you a little bit more explanation on that. So good question, thank you. I like people who ask questions like that. Although it shows out of class, but that's fine, at least you ask questions. Or you could ask me after the class, okay? Questions are welcome. Okay, next one is very important because this is microeconomics class. We're gonna get to the difference between MC, marginal cost, versus average cost. I'm assuming that most of you have done high school math and know what is average. Okay, so we have to make a distinction between these two kinds of concept. Number one, average cost or benefit. Number two, marginal cost or benefit. So now everybody know what is NASA? Should NASA expand the example in your book? Expand the space shuttle program from 4 launches per year to 5. Now that's the example. We're going to do some calculation, and this calculation is going to be important for the rest of the semester because we are dealing with marginal concept. Remember that I mentioned the other day in class that every time you mention the word marginal in economics, that is the time to wake up because the word marginal is a very, very important term. There's another term that's also equally important, which we deal with in chapter 3. It's called equilibrium. Okay, now total benefit for 4 launches in this example is 24 billion. So the average benefit will be 6 billion per launch. How do you get 6? Anybody? 6 is the average. So you take total benefit, which is 24 billion, divided by the quantity, which is 4, and that's how you get 6. So everybody got that? Second part, the total cost for 4 launches. So your average cost will be, again, taking 20 billion, which is the total benefit for 4 launches divided by 4. You get 5 billion per launch. Okay, ready for the table? Coming up. Oh, not yet. Okay, let's do some definition very quickly. I thought we did that already. That must be in the other class. So I want to define very quickly what is marginal benefit and marginal cost. This should be in your book. If you find it, help us to find it. Tell us what page it is.
That's 23.
I'm sorry? 23. Very good at the bottom. Could I get a volunteer to read marginal cost and another one to read marginal benefit?
Marginal cost is the increase in total cost that results from carrying out one additional unit of an activity.
Okay, go ahead and read marginal cost since you're at it already.
Oh, I wrote it wrong. Wait, which one did you want me to read?
Did you read marginal cost earlier? Read the next one.
Okay. The marginal benefit is the increase in total benefit that results from carrying out one additional unit of an activity.
Okay, thank you, Haley. So, see, I underlined the word additional. This means extra. So that's what marginal means, extra. Okay, now we're going to see the difference. Now you see these stars here? This means 5 stars, like Hilton Hotel. Means it's very, very, not expensive, but very important. So these are some of the hints I gave students that this concept of important, you could expect that on your test. Okay, so that's in your book as well. If you have your book, refer to it on page 23. We want to look at example now. 4 columns. This is also in your book, one of the tables. First column show you the number of launches from 0 all the way to 4. Second column show you the total cost of what? Of one launch, it's 3 billion, and then 2 is 7 billions, all the way down to 5, you got 32 billion. Whoops, don't forget that 20 right there. I don't know what happened there. Screen is too big, but so 4 launches would be 20 billion. And we knew that from previous slide. Okay, what about average cost? How do we get this column? Anybody? Like for example, how do we get 3? You take the total cost divided by the number of units. So 3 divided by 1, you get 3. Got it? Okay, come down all the way to, how do you get 4? Take total cost of
12 divided by 3.
12 divided by 3 launches, you get 4. Very good. So far, so good. That's how you do the average. Now, the next one is extremely important. The marginal cost. How do you compute marginal cost? I'm going to give you an equation. Please write this down. This is important. Marginal cost of the first unit. This is how you calculate it. You take the total cost of 1 unit minus total cost of 0 unit. So you can see the patterns. The next one, marginal cost of the second unit will be, take the total cost of 2 units minus the total cost of the previous one, which is 1 unit. Now, somebody help me with the third one. The marginal cost of the third unit will be? Anybody? If you want to do it, raise your hand. Okay, Henry, go ahead.
Total cost of the third unit minus total cost of the second.
Of 2 units, not so much
yeah.
the second. This is third, but this is 3 units and 2 units. Not the second and the third, because total cost of all 3 units. Okay, got it. So let's look at the first one. So how do we get 3? So 3 will be your MC1, the marginal cost of the first unit. So that will be the total cost of 1 unit, which is 3, got it? Minus 0. We get 3, right? Simple math. You don't need your calculator, but if you have it with you, that's good. Be ready. Okay, the next one, could I get help? Giving a number, okay? Go in. I'll go, son.
Gonna be 7.
7?
Wait, no, not the answer. But TC.
Yeah,
second
give me the
unit,
working. Total cost of 2 units will be?
would it be 7?
Right, 7 minus 3, so you have?
4.
4 is the answer. Very good. So that's how you get that second unit. Got it? Okay, what about the next one? The next one will be you take 12 minus 7 to get 5. Right? And so on and so forth. What about the 12th one? The last one?
20.
Oh, we might as well do it all. Can't believe this. Okay, what's this number here? So this will be, somebody give me that, fill in a number. Okay, volunteer?
20.
32.
What's DC4 here?
20.
20. The other one is?
7. 12.
And?
8.
So you got 8, right. Then the last one will be TC5. Is everybody understanding what's going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. TC5, this will be 32 minus 20, so you get 12. Okay, that's important. There will be at least one question on the test that we ask you to calculate that. So write it down. Every time I drop you hints like that, take it, receive it. otherwise it's gone. Okay, very good. So now we're asking, we haven't solved the problem yet, so far we're just explaining how to derive all the numbers, okay? So now let's solve the problem. We're asking a question, what is the optimal number of launches? And then you say, whoa, what? So let's go back to cost-benefit principle, what does it say? Again? Tyler, do you remember? Marginal benefit greater than or equal to marginal cost. So we're gonna use that, apply it. Okay, you say, well, we need more. We need something more like, well, yeah, we got a marginal cost in that last column. We need marginal benefit. So we're giving this assumption to you. This is a giveaway. A giveaway. So marginal benefit, we're assuming that is equal to your average benefit, which you flipped 2 slides beforehand. We had calculated that to be 6 billion. So in other words, we got this number. This is 6 billion. Okay. So now we are going to decide on the marginal cost. So let's apply. So if we look at it, we say, okay, now for the first unit, the marginal cost, the marginal benefit is greater than marginal benefit, right? Does it fulfill that equation? Yes. What about second one? Yes, because 6 is greater than 4. What about next one, 5? That's okay. 6 is greater than 5. What about the next one? We're not okay. So where do you stop? You stop right here. Draw a line here. Because that fulfills when marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost. The best one is when it is equal. So you get the closest one. So we know all 3 fulfill that, but you get the closest one, which is 5. Yes, Hunter?
I was just gonna ask, do we always assume marginal benefit is equal to average?
No.
I just.
We
this
give you
equation-
this assumption this time. A lot of time we ask you to calculate, yeah. Good question. Okay, so then we know that we stop at here, and that's not the answer yet, because we have to answer this question, what is the optimal number of launches? So go back, remember this is a marginal cost of the third unit. So the answer is,
2.
I'm sorry, the answer is,
2 launches.
one more time,
2.
the answer is 3. Because it's a third one. Not 2, the answer is 3. Now, the reason that you may get confused here, I have not pointed it out yet. I see why some of you say 2, because be very careful, zero in on this column. Did you see that they are not aligned with the rest of the rows? They're like in between, and this guy say, hello, I'm in between 0 and 1. This one say, hello, I'm in between these 2 rows. So because this is how you get your marginal cost between the 2 numbers here. So if you look at your book, I don't know if your book show it that way. So over the year, I tried to get my TDA to make sure that this does not align with the row, but it's in between the row. So this 4 should actually be a little bit lower down. Understand what I'm saying? So for that reason, the answer is 3. This number should actually be a little bit lower down. This one should be between these 2 numbers and down and down. I don't know what happened here. I think the images got screwed up. Well, refer to your book. Let's go to your book. See, your book is a little bit clearer, right? There it is, page 25. See that? 3, 4, 5, 8, 12. So if you pick 5, 5 is the third unit. So therefore the answer is 3, not 2. So if you just look at like the row like that, you tend to mess up. In fact, I don't agree with the book about their alignment. Yeah, I don't know why it's just like that. Let me see if I could show a little bit better like this. It's still the same. But I think you get my point, right? Everybody. Okay, very good. So again, this is your cost benefit test or criterion or what we call the principle. Next, I'm going to give 2 examples very quickly of what is economics. 2 types of economic principle that you will encounter throughout the semester. One is called normative economics, the other one is called positive economics. So remember, this is important, okay? If you could find more questions like that to practice, that would be good, maybe in your flash quiz or in your book. If you read the book, every time you say concept check, stop and do it, because these are applied question that normally the answers are given at the end of the chapter. So you could test it and see if you get it, if you understand it. Okay, so now we want to talk about the differences between normative versus, what's the other one? Positive economics. What's the difference between the two? Okay. Now, normative economic principles deal with, how people should behave. It's got a little bit of what ought to be, how desirable should it be. It's subjective. Unlike positive economic, which is objective. And this one would say what? Okay, there it is. It deals with appropriateness or desirability of an economic outcome or policy. In other words, you have some sort of subjective judgment, or to some extent, opinion. We should increase the tax by 0.25%. That is considered a normative economic statement. But if you say, if we were to increase the tax by 0.125%, next year we would have collected 5.5 billion of tax revenue in return. Now that's positive economic, because you put in more number, you have more concrete example. You answer the what question. So this one is ought to, which is better. Okay, it is. Next, positive economic principle, the one on the right-hand side. It predicts how people will behave instead of should behave. You know exactly what will happen. Like the example I just gave. You know, if you increase the tax rate by 0.125%, then next year we'll increase the revenue by such and such an amount. So to make statements or predictions concerning economic behavior, so this is a little bit more positive. A lot of time it throws out numbers. Okay. Answer the question of what is and what happened. So you have to answer the what question. The other question is more like judgment, you know, should we do this, should we do that? Okay, so more, and that's just example. So the kind of question you can expect from a test we'll ask you next Monday would be example. Okay, for example, a person is more likely to take an action if its benefit rises and less likely if its cost rises. So this is quite concrete statement. And you could put it in some number, like if we start calculating economic surplus, and to see whether the number is positive or negative, you are definitely getting into positive economic statement, unlike the normative economic statement. Okay, a very quick summary about this chapter before I get to chapter 2. We talk about scarcity principle, and because you can't have everything, then you have to practice trade-off. Cost-benefit principle, that's what we've been talking about. Incentive, we haven't really talked about it that much. Learning economics through application. This is the last slide I have, and then I'm moving to chapter 2 very quickly. Basically what this slide is saying is, throughout the textbook, if you have read it, if you have not, you should start reading it. I know some of you don't like to read, but you should at least skim through it very quickly. When it comes to time for tests, you know, hopefully you use the PowerPoint slides as review, not as the first time you are studying the material. PowerPoint slides is more for me, you know, to explain the concept to you, but to get a little bit more in-depth, you really have to read the book. Most students I know, without HMVs, they read the book. Okay, and the best thing is read the book even before the instructors go over it. And then when I explain it, you know, all this concept becomes clearer, and then you could ask better questions too. Okay, so that's about it. And I was going to say economic naturalisms. So you see that a lot throughout your textbook. And what it is trying to use the economics, the natural environment out there to relate to economics, which I find it very interesting. And a lot of new textbook we have now, they also try to stress that one way or another. Okay, so I'm moving on to chapter 2. I would like a volunteer to read. Let's go for that. Page 48. So chapter 2 deals with comparative and advantage. Comparative and what's the other one? And absolute advantages. Okay, so that's the main question that we want to answer. And we're going to basically later on talk about international trade, why economic concept, how does it relate to big things on international trade? So it's got something to be comparative versus absolute advantage. Okay, before that, let's ask a question. And before we ask that question, let's look at that question and then I'll have a volunteer read that section. Should Joe Jamel, very famous lawyer, write his own will? He is the most renowned trial lawyer in American history, and his list appear on, I'm not sure if this is updated, 284 on the Forbes list of 400 richest Americans with net assets of $1 billion. So let's have a volunteer to read page 36, excuse me, that could be 48 in your book, right? Is that 48?
36 in the book.
36 in the book, thank you. Should Joe Jamel write his will? Could I get a volunteer to read that whole section? Okay, very good. Thank you for borrowing the book. Thank you for sharing the book. And that's Mr. Dalton.
Joe Jamel, known in the legal profession as the King of Torts, is the most renowned trial lawyer in American history. And at number 284 on Forbes' list of the 400 richest Americans, he is also one of the wealthiest with net assets totaling more than $1 billion. Although Mr. Jamel devotes virtually all of his working hours to high-profile
Litigation.
Litigation.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. He is also competent to perform a much broader range of legal services. Suppose, for example, that he could prepare his own will in 2 hours, only half as long as it would take any other attorney. Does that mean Jamel should prepare his own will on the strength of his talent and that word again?
As a litigator,
Jamel earns many millions of dollars a year, which means that opportunity cost of any time he spends preparing his will would be several $1,000s per hour. Attorneys who specialize in property law typically earn far less than that amount. Jamel would have little difficulty engaging a competent property lawyer who could prepare his will for him for less than $800. So even though Jamel considerably skills would enable him to perform this task more quickly than another attorney, it would not be in his interest to prepare his own will.
okay, thank you for your effort. I really appreciate it. So please bring the book to the class. So because as he's reading it, I hope you are referring to the book because then you're relying on his reading to know what's going on. So basically, we want to answer this question: should he prepare his will? Okay, I'm not going to summarize everything because I expect you to listen to what he said. So that goes on. Before we answer that question, we have to define what are the two advantages. Okay, there are two advantages that should appear on the bottom of that pictures of Joe Jamel in your book. The absolute advantage versus comparative advantage. So what's really is the difference between the two? For example, let's look at the definition. One person has an absolute advantage over another if he takes fewer hours to perform a task than the other person. Okay, for example, how many of you, how many typists here in this class?
Who?
Typist, you could type, professional typist. Well, I don't mean like you actually take lessons and all that. Okay, Shamika, how fast can you type? You don't have a rate? Usually we have a rate like 80 words per minute, something like that. You don't know what's your, how many of you know how to text? Oh yeah, that's everybody. How fast can you text? 55 words per second? Per minute?
Probably.
Okay, let's say if you could do, is that pretty fast? 55 words
Yes.
per second? I'm not sure if that's possible. But you could definitely text faster than me. Because, you know, that's what you do. Because some of you can't even do handwriting anymore. You better at texting. Okay, so it's probably true to say that you guys have an absolute advantage over me. When I first started, I just typed Y and N. You know, the doctor's appointment, yes or no. That's it. That's very easy, Y or N. Because I didn't have an iPhone yet. I still have this button one, so having problem to get to Y, come on, you know? And then with iPhone, it's so much easy. So I have come a long way. Okay, now, when you look at absolute advantage, you actually look at the time taken to breathe. How fast can you run on a track? How many of you watched Pardon's marathon yesterday, the Olympics? You all didn't know about it? This guy, Pardon Navu, used to be a business student from Zimbabwe. He represents his country, Zimbabwe. UNCP graduate, School of Business graduate, in Olympics.
He was like 42nd, or 44th or something. In the,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch it?
He made it
I
to the
didn't-
Olympics, though.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but it was still
sometime.
a feat to get there. But
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't see the time, you know. I see something 30, but I couldn't
Yeah.
get it. But anyway, I'm sure he runs faster than any of us in his class. So he has an absolute advantage there, right? So let's look at comparative advantage. One person has comparative advantage over another if his opportunity cost. That's a keyword right there, underlined there. Performing a task is lower than the other person's opportunity cost. Okay, we're gonna look at example. Refer to your book, and there's a mistake in your book, I'm gonna correct it very quickly. Okay. So if you look at your books here, right, or this PowerPoint slides, we're looking at two ladies, Beth and Paula, and two tasks. The first task is how much time does she take to upgrade the website? Number two, the second task is repairing bicycle. How much time does she take to repair bike? Look, she's much faster than Beth. Beth is much faster than Paula in both tasks. 20 minutes in web upgrading and 10 minutes in repairing bicycle. That's great. And the other lady would take 30 minutes each. So by looking at this, we can straight away say Beth has a absolute advantage in performing both tasks, web page upgrading as well as repairing bicycle. So there it is, over Paula, the second lady. But in terms of opportunity cost, it's not so straightforward. We have to calculate that, okay? So there it is, I'm giving it to you here. Please write this down. This one is not in your book. So I'm also gonna write it down here for you. So if you want to look at the BEP opportunity cost, we only look at BEP, not Paula. So opportunity cost of web page upgrading, this is the equation you would use, okay? 10 minutes in bike repair versus 20 minutes in web page upgrading. And so 10 divided by 12, that's half. So the answer is, if you know how to do math, high school math, whatever that's on top, your numerator, this is denominator, is the final answer. So half of bike repair. So in other words, you can convert an opportunity cost in terms of how fast can you, the opportunity cost of performing this web page upgrading in terms of bike repair. So that's the first one. The second one, her opportunity cost, again, talking about that, of bike repair is, again, in this case, WP is on top, BR is at the bottom, and this becomes 10 here, this 20. You got 2 WP. That's the same thing, I'm just using short form, this is in full English. So what this is saying is that her opportunity cost of performing bike repair in terms of web page upgrading is 2. So if you compare 2 and half, which one is lower? Half. So this is the answer, but be careful. Because remember, we want to answer the question about whether she has comparative advantages or not. Okay, so we look at the opportunity cost, and this is one way to calculate opportunity cost of both. So here it is, right here. There's a correction on your book, so be sure you write this down. Your book is not correcting this on that particular table. So here it is. Now, the number you see here is a number I calculated there. There for Beth is 0.5 or 1/2 of bicycle repair for her opportunity cost of upgrading web page. However, her opportunity cost of bicycle repair should be 2 web page upgrading. So this 2 we calculated. This one we don't have to calculate because it's straightforward. 30 minutes, so 30 times divided by 30 is 1 in each case. So with this information, let's read this very carefully. See all the reds are correction over the book. So Beth, again, look at the first lady, opportunity cost of web page upgrading in terms of bicycle repair foregone, which we're looking at this, is half as high as Paula. So we're comparing like that. So Beth has a competitive advantage at programming or web page upgrading. And then we look at this column next. We say, if we look at this 2 column here, 2 and 1, so 1 is a lower number. So Paula therefore has a comparative advantage in bicycle repairing. Okay, so now everybody at this point, if you look at the number, you know how to make a decision. You say, okay, so half is going less than 1, so Beth has comparative advantage in upgrading web page. 1 is less than 2, so Paula has comparative advantage in repairing bike. Now, I think the difficult part a lot of time is when you come back to this, when we check this, and then student will make a mistake, and I'm trying to point out here. So remember that in this case, we say that Beth has her opportunity cost, her comparative advantage is in web page upgrade. But whereas the other lady has comparative advantage over bicycle. So when we look at it, we're looking at this OC for WP in terms of bicycle. So this is the one that you have to be careful about there. Okay, did everybody have a chance to copy this down? Because your textbook is not correct in that. Okay, let me finish this and then you can go. Just reaffirm this. So comparative advantage is everybody does best when each person or each country, those who apply to country, concentrate on activities for which his or her opportunity cost is lowest. So when we compare 2 countries, Brazil and USA, for example, in performing, maybe producing cowboy boots or cowboy hats, you might say, oh, US has a lower opportunity cost, or US has a comparative advantage in producing cowboy boots or hats over Brazil. Okay, thank you for coming. I'll see you on Wednesday, and there's a homework assignment due on Wednesday, handwritten. When I walk in, I will be collecting it. If you want to hand in today, you have it already, I'll take that. So please read the chapter in advance because if you're not understanding student, then read it out. Question?
I have my homework, but I really